Touchdown Tampa Bay. You're listening to the PewterCast.
Welcome to the PewterCast. I am Brent Allen, your host, joined as always by my good friend, Ren, still on the old iPod Dax. Ren.
Yes.
It's Wednesday.
It is Wednesday. And
Yes.
as I told you when I jumped in here, I'm like, oh, I forgot I didn't have the laptop.
Right.
And then I tried to boot up the old laptop, and it took a half hour even just to get to the screen where I put in the passcode to unlock it.
Uh-huh.
And I typed it in, and it went back to the home screen. And then 2 minutes would pass, and it'd go back to the password screen. So, yeah, iPad it is.
There you go. For those who missed it in our last show, your normal laptop that you broadcast from was absconded and is gone. It is in the ether out there right now. Well, North Carolina anyway. Your girl took it, and here you are. So,
like I was in Ireland.
Right. Right.
When I broadcast from a castle.
That's right. So, well, I want to say a quick hello to all of you who are joining us live out there on YouTube, or maybe you're on Periscope, Twitter, maybe you're at the PewterCast.live, maybe you're on Facebook, or maybe you're one of the many thousands that will listen to this later on the podcast feed. Hello to all of you, and welcome to what I think is going to be a very special show here in the history of the PewterCast, Ren. We've kind of been touting it a little bit this week, but we've got a big announcement to make. And tonight we're going to be talking about the future of the PewterCast.
Yes.
And what's happening. And Ren, you know, we've done Buck in the News for quite a while. You know how I really like to bury the lead?
Yeah, it's one of your best traits.
Yeah. So tonight I'm not going to do that. We're going to rip the Band-Aid off and then just talk about it. Here's the deal. At the end of the season, I will be leaving the PewterCast. And that's happening. we'll take that collective sigh. I told Ren about this. I don't know. Ren was about 2-3 weeks ago, I guess now.
Yeah, about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. And
we kind of sort of said, like, I'm like, well, we'll just, like, it just instantly in my head, we'll just wait to the Pewties.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And then all, like, later, I guess what was it, like Sunday night or Monday?
Yeah.
You sent me a message. You're like, yeah, I'm going to tell everybody Wednesday.
Yeah. I thought about it a lot. And I was like,
okay.
I thought about it a lot. And I have a number of reasons why I wanted to actually just go ahead and get it out there and not save it and push it out. But
let's go over them one by one.
One by one. Of what? Of why I'm leaving, or why I wanted to do it now?
Why you want to do it now? Let's start there.
Because I wanted to take the next 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks, however long it's going to be, until the Pewties. By the way, the end of our season will mark the Pewties. So I will still be here in my normal role, in my normal spot, right up until we get to the PewterCast Awards show. And that will mark my final episode here at the PewterCast, at least as a host. You know, who knows? I may come back as a host. I don't know. Because frankly, I don't know what Ren's got planned, and I don't know where he's going to go with this. And I don't know.
I think it's important to note that the PewterCast isn't going anywhere. The name.
That is true. That is true. The PewterCast will live on, and we'll go forward under Ren and his direction, and really, buddy, wherever you want to take it.
Yeah, I'm going to ruin your creation.
I was been 100% scared of that.
Yeah, I know.
But if that's what happens, then that's what happens. So be it. And I'll watch it go down an eternal flame of glory.
There you go. Yeah, you'll be sipping on your soda. Just kicking back.
Just going, well, at least it wasn't me.
Everyone, I kept trying to tell everybody it was me. I was the talent. But
right.
No one believed me. Now you know.
There you go.
So what's some other reasons why you wanted to I mean, was it part? I'm sure it was part like you wanted to sort of take a victory lap, right?
It was some of that. Some of it was also like, it's not real until you say it, until you put it out there. And like at any time you could just sort of take it back. Like if you don't say it, like you can always just go, I'm just not going to do it.
Right.
I'm just going to stay. So there's a piece of, honestly, for my own sanity, I was just saying, no, it's out there. I don't like keeping long-term secrets with stuff like this unnecessarily. So I mean, I'm no stranger to keeping secrets, but you know, it you know, I'm happy for these next several weeks. This, you know, however long we have left. God, I sound like I'm dying. However long we have left, I want them, you know, just cards out on the table with where things are, and you know, if certain pieces of conversation happen to come up surrounding that, that's fine, and I want to allow that to happen. But you know, if anybody wants to send me sweet accolades or call into the PewterCast live show this week or for the next 3 weeks and just tell me how awesome I've been for the last 5 years, you know, that'll be a great show. I'll be perfectly happy with that. Please don't do that, guys.
And there it is.
No, don't do that. It's all about the games. So yeah, that's I think why at the end of the day, and you know, I talked it over with a few people, and you know, yeah, ultimately it was that I needed to say it. I needed to get it out there so that it could be real.
Right. You need
know
to
what
be
I mean?
real. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I definitely know what you mean. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell all the disappointed people why you're abandoning them?
Yeah. Well, it's because Ren and I had a big blowout fight.
And me. How about you tell me first why you're abandoning me?
You and I have had this conversation, but I'll tell you again. No, actually, before I do that, Ren, let me dispel something that people out there may be thinking. This is not happening because you and I have had some big fight.
Who thought that?
I don't know, but it could happen. There's, you know, rumors start for things that are out there, and that's not it. Actually, I mean, I think Ren and I have been working better together, you know, than than we have in a long time. And you know, the show is on really good feet. I mean, the show's at its height right now. You know, like this is the best the show's ever really done. The numbers are amazing. The YouTube thing has been rocking this year. You know, we've got more people tuning into the PewterCast live than ever before. We're you know, finally making a little bit of residual income, which is nice. And it's time to walk away from me. Ultimately, here's the reason why, bigger than all the other reasons. 5 years ago, when I started the PewterCast, I had a 3-year-old and I had a 0-year-old.
Really?
5 years later, huh?
She didn't exist?
No, she had just been born.
Okay.
She was a newborn. 5 years later, at now 8 and 5 years old, the demands on me as a father are way higher than I ever thought they would be.
Right.
The demands on my time, the demands on my schedule, you know, and not just the demands. I mean, frankly, the places I want to be as a father. Like I want to be with my kids. I want to be at their games. I want to be reading them stories at bed at night. And what I don't want to be doing is, crap, guys, I can't read you. And this has happened too many times this year specifically. Is one of my kids will look at me and say, "Hey, Dad, can you read me the story tonight?" And I say, "Buddy, I can't because I got to go do a podcast." And
it's not like I can't because you're going to be getting a job next year and it's time to put away childish things. You're too old for stories.
No.
Okay. I don't have kids.
No, because here's the thing: whether it's next year or in 2 years, it's not that much longer that he's actually going to want me to read him a story at night.
It's true.
You know, and you know, for him, he's actually reading like full on books now. Like these aren't kid books anymore, you know. And he's really into them, and it's something that he and I get to do together.
What's he reading?
Right now he's reading something called the Green Ember series. We spent most of the summer and in through the fall reading the Harry Potter. Actually, I guess it was last fall and in through the summer we read the Harry Potter series for the first time. But now we've been reading the Green Ember series.
Is it still fantasy?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
it's more fantasy than Harry Potter ever was. Only it's little rabbits running around, and not but it's like, think like Lord of the Rings only with rabbits. It's kind of what it is.
Secret of Nim.
Oh yeah, that's kind of in that vein, and it's a really good series. We've really enjoyed it. So but I mean, there's that, and I mean, like, even tonight, like, I was going, all right, kids, you got to get in bed, because Daddy's got to go, and we're not starting till 10. I mean, we're not starting till 10, Ren. Like, this is not early.
Remember we used to start at 8?
Yeah. And you know, and in the back of my head, so there's my kids, but then the other side of that, Ren, was you. Like Ren's sitting there going, hey, Brent said 9:00, and now it's 9:15. Where is he? You know, we're dealing with a child, and sorry, that child,
I can't read you a goddamn story.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and Ren's like, we just need to let him know. And you know, I have been on this path towards what the exit has been probably pretty serious since last year. Truth be told, I wanted to quit at the end of last year, and my wife wouldn't let me. She said, no, you're not quitting. No, you're not doing it. You got to give it another year. You know, you want to make sure it's not just because the team is losing, you know?
So it's Jameis Winston's fault.
Well, we got Tom now, and I'm still gone. And the team's about to go to the playoffs for the first time ever in the history of this podcast. And
but it was Jameis who took your spark, though.
No. I would say the spark is still there. It's just like I said. I mean, when Derek wrote his little, like, sort of goodbye letter over at What the Buck, Derek Fournier, and I don't know what you read when you saw that, but what I saw was a father who was in the same spot as I was, only his kids are a little bit older than mine.
Yeah.
Basically, he's like, look, I've got demands on my life and demands on my time as a father, and that's got to take priority. When Chris Fisher left Bucks Brief podcast, it was his exact same reason, was it had to do with his family and where they were. So, you know, there's, and I have bumped up against that, and I've come up against that. And in all of my creative pursuits, when Penny and I decided to have children, I made her the promise that I wouldn't be one of these absentee fathers, that my kids wouldn't grow up thinking, wow, Dad was just always gone, you know, or I wouldn't wind up as one of these, you know, not that I was going to be so famous that somebody would make a movie out of my life, but, you know, one of these biopics where, like, the guy comes from nothing and he makes it big and he has everything and then he loses everything and he has to put it back together towards the end of his life. Like,
his family hates him.
Yeah. Like, that's not going to be me, you know, that I was going to be a guy who was always there. And that's where it is. And, you know, most of you guys know this past year, 2 years, I don't know, however long it's been, I've started coaching my kids' baseball team, and that's been a blast. But that also takes time.
Has it though? Has it?
Yeah. Yes. It has been more of a blast than a headache. It's been heartbreaking sometimes, but you know, so I mean, that's ultimately where it is. And, you know, I think the other side, if I could give one more thing from a creative standpoint, like, I've done everything with the PewterCast I could possibly ever want to do.
Yeah.
You know, I've taken it as far as I want to go, but really as far as I think I could go. And Ren, I know that whatever you wind up doing, and I know you're still trying to figure all that out, you're going to take this show in places that I could not, would not, or would be willing to even go.
That is true.
Yeah, right. and so there's a little bit of
many of my ideas have been vetoed throughout the years.
Yeah, and you know, we'll see how people respond, if they're good ideas or not.
I don't even remember what they were. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Somebody in the chat is saying, I just joined. Is Ren actually leaving for Loose Cannons?
Somebody put that in the earlier in the chat. No.
Ren is going to join Sammer on the Loose Cannons.
Yeah, that's where they read that.
No, it is. For those of you just joining, it is me. I will be leaving the show at the end of the season for where we're going. So that's really the why. It has absolutely nothing to do, like I said earlier, with Ren and I having any kind of fight or any kind of, like, creative differences or any kind of weird stuff like that. You know, and I've said I will, you know, I'm going to be the PewterCast #1 fan moving forward, which I suppose everybody leaving the show says that. And, you know, are you really? I don't know. Yes, I will be. I want nothing but the best for the show, because the other thing is, no matter what happens, this show will always be my baby.
It's true.
And
can't wait for your unasked for input.
It's not going to happen.
What?
It's not going to happen. I'm not going to call you. If you call and ask me, I'll talk to you about what I think, but I'm not. No, it is when I step out, brother, it's your show.
You just really want to watch us go down in flames.
Full
while you're in the long chair.
Sitting by the pool, sipping a Mai Tai.
Sitting by the pool, watching the little toy model Titanic go under in the deep end.
Mm-hmm.
With the SS PewterCast across the side. Just little chip.
There you go. So yeah, guys. I mean, hey, out there, look, Ren's gonna need all the moral support you can give him. No, Ren's gonna be fine, guys. He's gonna be just fine. And I don't know what you plan on doing. If you're gonna run solo, or are you gonna get another co-host, or I'm sure the entire format of what you do is gonna change.
Yeah, the format's going to change. The live show won't go anywhere. I mean, I think that's both of our favorite shows by far.
Sure, and it's the most popular show we do.
Right.
By far.
Yeah, by far.
Yeah, by far. Yeah, sure, I'd say that.
And there's got to be some type of weekending show. I like the Buck in the News. Like, I like the name, and I like the format, even though we've changed it a bit over the years.
Fine-tuned it is the word, Ren. We fine-tuned it.
Sure. Yeah. We fine-tuned it. I still feel it's missing something.
Sure.
But I don't know what that is. And I've never really thought about it, because I never had to till now.
Mm-hmm.
And then, it's sort of up in the air for a midweek show or not. Mm-hmm. I think they're necessary, but I don't want to do sort of like, what we got away from this year. Here's my final word on the Vikings game. Here's what I think is going to happen in the Falcons game.
Sure.
Because that's what everybody does. And there are, there are so many YouTube channels and Buccaneers podcasts out there. And why don't you tell that story? Because why don't you tell the story, remind everybody like why you started it.
Yeah.
And how it happened.
Sure. So it was Jameis Winston's first year, and I was living in South Carolina. I've always been an out-of-market fan for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers since I graduated college in 2001, December of 2001. And since then, I've been an out-of-market fan, have never really been able to watch the team on my own terms or connect with other fans. Because as you guys might imagine, you guys know, listen, if you're watching this show and you're a Buccaneers fan, it's a small market team. And there's not a ton of Buccaneer fans spread out there. So I almost never
small market though. The Tampa metropolitan area is not a small market. That's why I don't understand why we get. I mean, this is just like I don't understand. Like
it's because it's not widespread. Like the Tampa, like who
watches? It doesn't have a lot of followers. It's just not popular. But as far as like the amount of people around the Tampa Bay area that would consider the Bucs their home team, their favorite team, like it's like in top 10 in the United States.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's bigger than Miami-Dade.
Because like I know where I grew up in Lexington, Kentucky, we were in / the Bengals / Green Bay Packers territory.
Okay.
And that was really far away. Like Cincinnati was about an hour away, but they sucked and nobody wanted to watch them. So they'd actually put on the Packers game local for us is typically who we saw, kind of growing up. So, but anyway, all of that being said, so my background is in sound engineering, and I'm sitting there one day and I'm kind of just starting to get into podcast. There's a podcast called In Session Film Podcast. It's a movie podcast. That they had that was started by actually a guy that I used to work with, and they had invited me on, and I kind of figured out what podcasting was, started listening to Buccaneers podcast. There was only 4 on at the time, or at least 4 that I could find, 4 that I knew of, which was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers official podcast, because they actually used to have that, which was basically just their radio show they'd throw up a couple times a week. There was What the Buck, there was the Bucks Brief podcast, and there was Buck What You Heard. Like that was it. That was like the entire slate of Buccaneer podcasts that I could find anyway, that I knew was out there. And Derek did a good job with What the Buck of creating the live forum. Chris did a pretty good job with that. And one day Chris hopped on and he had this very similar of announcement. I think it took about 8 minutes, and he's like, "Deuces, I'm leaving effective immediately." And I just sat back and said, I don't think people listen to podcasts and not think, what would I do if I had my own podcast?
Yeah, I can do that. That's easy.
Yeah, right. And I'm no different. And like I went home, like I looked, I was like, oh, look, I've got a soundboard there. I've got a microphone there. I've got all the cables and plugins there. I know how to do this. I know how to record and edit audio. I also know how to put together a show. So let's do that. And I really started it as a way to, I don't know what my goal was when starting it. Like ultimately I just wanted to talk about the Bucks.
I remember. I remember what you told me that you were hoping the PewterCast would be when I had sort of first started.
Okay, what did I say then?
You said you wanted your face on the side of the stadium.
Oh my god.
like that was sort of like what you were shooting for. Was like, how it has like
I don't normally say stuff like that.
Mike Evans
that had been a little tongue in cheek.
No, you were like
there's no way.
sort of like
or I've lost me.
You've lost you. Me? You lost you. I hear you. Can you hear me?
Find out.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Is it me? Are you guys? Hey, you guys out there? Are you guys seeing me? Oh, there we go.
Are you back?
Can you hear me? Yeah. Did I freeze or you froze on me?
You froze
Did
on
I freeze
me.
on you?
You're still frozen. I could always hear you the whole time then. I don't mind.
Okay. Hey, all right. Let me refresh.
Okay. Well, anyway, I guess my solo career has started a little earlier than I thought.
Am I back? Are you good now?
Yeah, we're good.
Cool. So I froze. All right, sorry guys.
You were no. You were serious, man. You were like, and it wasn't like this is my ultimate goal. Here are the steps. It wasn't a plan. It was just kind of like you're like one day, like I want it to be, but you got to remember back then, like there was only 3 podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like you wanted yourself like up on the side of the stadium.
I don't know why I would have ever thought that I would be up on the side of the stadium.
Me neither. That was my thinking the first time you said that.
I have no recollection of ever having a delusion. Hey guys, let me give you a hint. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are not going to put any member of the certified media or especially the fringe media or a podcaster on the side of the stadium. That's reserved for about 8 players. That's about it.
Yeah. You could buy the spot, I guess.
I guess. No. Now, you know what I thought? This was not a goal, but I thought that this would be cool. Like, when they have their events like the draft party and different things like that.
Yeah.
Like if we had like been popular enough or had enough of a following, like we could like host, kind of like what Scott and Casey do, like where they sort of host those events. Like,
right.
Because I didn't know how it worked. I was very naive back then.
Yeah, we all were.
But if you get enough following and people want to, because they get the radio guys to come in and do stuff like that. Like, wait, we could host a side down here. But that was not the reason why I started the podcast. The reason why I started the podcast was really just to connect with Buccaneers fans and see if I could do it. And very much learned on the fly as I was doing it. And let's hear. I guess what it was, and I've had this mantra since I started was, I don't want to copy what other people are doing. I want to do something new, and I want to add to the conversation. And at the time, it was Pulowski and Easterling. They were doing. Those were the other guys that had a show. Was Pulowski and Easterling? They had a show. And
that was. I thought was that Bucks. I thought it was Bucks Brief.
No. Chris Fisher was Bucks Brief. They were something. It wasn't in the. It was something had to do with the line with.
Yeah, I remember.
It was and then Easterling left to go do USA Today or whatever he was doing there, and Pulowski started taking the voicemails and doing the Bucks takes like that. And I thought, okay, well that's cool. Derek has the live radio show. what if I were able to take live phone calls? And so like I scrapped and figured out how to do that. And we did that over the bye week that first year. I thought that was cool. But then I had all the equipment and the gear to be able to do that. Right. And decided to say, hey, let's see if we can do a post game like instant reaction show.
Right.
You know? And then I thought, well, why don't we just push those two together? And thus the Instant Cast was born. Was basically us taking live phone calls, and
there was no us.
Yeah, you're right. And then that went for a couple of weeks, and I knew that I needed a co-host. And I had new co-hosts like every week. Like I was going through the list, like James, first guest on the PewterCast, James Yarko from Locked On Bucks. Yeah, he will hold that.
Sorry, because he was at the Pewter Plank at the time.
He was at the Pewter Plank at the time. That's right. And I don't think or actually, I know for a fact, he and David had not started their podcast yet. At the time, it was called Talking the Plank. They started that somewhat later. You came on later that year as one of the guests. I had met you in the chat room with What the Buck.
Oh, was that where we met?
It was in the chat room with What the Buck.
I called in a few times.
And you called in. Yep, that's right. You called in a few times.
I called in a few times to complain about Donovan Smith.
Probably.
Probably about Gerald McCoy too.
Right. It was not Bucks Uncensored, KR. That was the show that came after Luke left. It was the same show. Justin just changed the name, but it was called something else. Like it wasn't In the Trenches, but it was along that line. And somebody out there is going to remember what it is. Somebody's listening to this and they'll be like, it was called whatever.
In the Trenches.
Yeah, it wasn't that, but not In the Trenches. Anyway, so you came on, and then I think I brought you back. I always forget the order of how this goes.
Yeah, me too.
I think I brought you back on a second time because somebody bailed on me.
Right.
And then I got you in for the PewterCast Awards, the very first one that we ever did. Got you in for the PewterCast Awards. And I remember going into that show and thinking, hey, if this works out like really well, then I'm going to ask him to be the co-host, here at the end of the show and kind of stop this rotating cycle of people. Cause that's annoying trying to find somebody new every single week.
Yeah.
Is it, Ren? Yeah, that's annoying. But Off the Edge, that's what they called it. Off the Edge.
That was it. Yeah.
That was it. Yeah. I told you it had something to do with the line. I knew it was. Anyway. So yeah, and then you came on board and away we went, man. We had different segments. We've dropped segments. We've added segments. We've dropped shows. We've added shows. And, the show has grown. And that's the other thing is the show has come to a spot where I don't feel I could take the show backwards. You know what I mean? Like I can't imagine myself doing the PewterCast and this is a once a week podcast for something.
Just doing it to do it because you don't want it to die.
Yeah.
But not but scaling back on everything.
Yeah, like the PewterCast is bigger than that now. Like it's bigger than me. It's bigger than all of those kinds of things. So, because I told you this when I first mentioned this to you, several weeks ago. I was like, I really contemplated actually like just saying, hey, you got to go start your own show because I'm not going to let you have the PewterCast because it's mine. But that was ultimately silly. But
I would have understood. I would have been like, well, that's kind of dickish, but I get it.
Right. But I decided to say, no, let it live on, let it keep going. And, in order to do that, that means that I have to step away completely and, just let you take it and be okay with whatever happens. So anyway, here we are.
Yeah.
That was a very long-winded answer to your question, which anybody who's been listening to the show for a long time knows that's par for the course.
Yeah. Usually it's me though. So what was it like going on the air for the first time? And not that necessarily, but what was it like when you could go on to like Apple Podcasts, see your logo, and click on it and hear your voice, like knowing that every single person in the known universe who has a smartphone could now listen to your opinion on the Buccaneers?
It was very cool. There was a part of me that was like, every chance I got, like I was clicking the button just here. It's like, oh look, there it is again. Oh, there it. I imagine that's what it's like for singers who like hear a song on radio. Like they know the song. They you know, it's there. There's nothing new about the song. There's just something cool about hearing it like come through that particular player. I would not say that I accounted for a bunch of the downloads at all, but it was just cool. It was like, look, it's very cool. I don't know. Like I wish I had better words for it, but it was cool, man. Like it made me giddy. I'll tell you what I really loved though, was when this logo came out.
Yeah.
Because before this, it was a pewter background with the helmet and then just the lettering on it, because I made it very quickly in Photoshop. And I mean very quickly, because you have to have something in order to submit it to Apple.
Right.
And I think we ran with that for, I don't know, about a year or so.
Yeah, a year or two. Wow.
Yeah, something like that. And then I actually commissioned this. I had a buddy of mine make this for me. Cost me about $250, and I was happy to pay it. And you remember when we rolled it out, like it was such an upgrade.
Oh yeah,
it was such an upgrade. And
we're big time now.
Right. And it's a cool I still love the logo, like a lot.
Oh, that's disappointing.
Yeah. Are you changing it? No. Are you going to change the name?
I've rolled things like PewterCast 2.0 or PewterCast 76er, because that's what they call, like the the orange.
That'd be a cool podcast name. The 76er, a Tampa Bay Buccaneers podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, that would be short lived, because eventually we're all going to die off. I guess it would be short lived, but that wouldn't go on forever. I have a couple things rolling around in my head, but I really don't, like, nothing's been set in stone, and I'm not even sure if I think it's a good idea yet.
Yeah.
To be honest. Yeah. I remember like the first time, when, like, during the off season, because you asked me to come on after the Pewties, and I said yes, of course, and I was super excited, and I went and told Cheryl, and she could give two shits. I was very, very hurt that she didn't wake up out of her slumber, because it was like 2 a.m. That she didn't, jump out of bed and give me a big hug.
Yeah. By the way, while you're talking about that, for as much success as we have ever had on this show, never have I gone downstairs and Penny has been like, so how was your show? Was it good? Did you have a lot of listeners? What was good? No, it's just been like do you know what your kids are doing right now? Why are you still up there? Can you please get out here so we can go, to the store, because I need to go get bread or whatever. Like, I'm like, what's wrong with you? Go get it.
You got a car.
Right. Like and from what I hear from most podcasters out there, like spouses are like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Just get out of there so we can go do whatever we're trying to get done.
Yeah. I find it's the same reaction like video games. Like someone who plays a lot of video games. It's not really necessarily that you're not spending time with them and their family. It's just that you're doing it on video games. But you're out in the garage working, or cleaning the garage, which is code for hiding from my wife. That's fine, and you could go out there like every Saturday for 3 hours, no problem. But if like every Saturday for 3 hours you podcasted, or every Saturday for 3 hours you sat down and played video games, now it's a problem. And it's like, okay. But anyway, Cheryl didn't jump out of bed.
Right.
Shocking. And so remember, and then we used to stay up, so the off season came, and then we do a show every 2 weeks.
Right.
And we would do like 3.5 hour shows.
Yeah.
3 hour, 3.5 hour shows once every 2 weeks.
Right. And there was this time where like there was this thing that was happening in the stats world where we're like, what we discovered was the longer our shows were, our numbers were skyrocketing.
Yes, they went from 300 to 400.
Rin, it was getting up to like, at the time, like 4,000 or 5,000 downloads per episode. Which was
that's right, yeah. Yeah.
And we couldn't figure it out. And then all of a sudden, like they changed how they calculate stats.
Yeah.
And it reduced to like
700.
Like 800, right?
Yeah.
And then we built it back up, and then they changed how they did it again, and it reduced it again. We're like, son of a bitch.
They keep doing it. Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
They keep changing the standards of how they measure these things. Listen, guys, hey, listen, little background in the world of stats out there. If somebody's proclaiming that they're having, thousands upon thousands of stats, give it 6 months. They're going to change how they count it, and it's going to drop down a lot. So
yeah, unless you keep using SoundCloud, then. But that would be the best way to do it.
Because they'll still have crappy stat reporting that nobody trusts.
Yeah, but advertisers don't know that. Like if I was going to try to sell advertisement locally to the PewterCast with Ren, or the PewterCast 2.0, or the real PewterCast, or the better PewterCast, or the PewterCast the way it always should have been. Yeah. All names I'm thinking about. You're not finding any of these funny anyway, by the way. But if I went to a local advertiser, I would bring them the SoundCloud numbers.
Sure.
Because they don't know how it works.
Nope.
But yeah,
I would actually, you know what I would do, honestly, is I would go in with my presentation prepared and explain to them how it works and why SoundCloud are a bunch of crappy numbers and why these numbers that I'm presenting to you are actually trustworthy numbers and why those numbers actually matter. And why they're better than SoundCloud.
I would absolutely not do that. I would be like this. According to SoundCloud, the third biggest podcasting network or network site or whatever it is out there. It might be the biggest. Who knows? Anyway.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
Yeah, because no one follows their numbers. Everybody, the secret's out. You missed your opportunity.
Right.
The gold rush is over. But yeah, we used to stay up, but remember, like we do a 3.5 hour podcast. And then this is back when you actually used to like to edit. And then you'd stay up till like 2:30 editing. I'd stay on with you.
Yeah.
And we talk about Harry Potter and we talk about Star Trek and we talk about, like your wife, my girlfriend. We talk about all kinds of stuff. Yeah. And then
like we actually became friends.
Yeah, that's where we became friends.
Yeah.
And then you were like, okay, it's up. See you later. Okay, bye. Then I would have to wait like 15 minutes for it to actually get up.
It's got to populate. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I would listen to it.
Right away? Yeah.
Right at 3.5 hours. Like I was going to bed like at 9 a.m. It was so ridiculous.
I would not listen to it right then. I would usually start, like by the time I got down and like got in bed, like I could start it like just as, okay, it's there. But I would listen to it the day after. But for me, listening to the show, I realized this a few times, after a while. When you record a show, you don't actually always remember what you say.
Right. Well, 3.5 hours.
Right. And so like, there's a little bit of like listening to it again as a listener. You're like, oh, that was a good point. Or God, I sounded like an idiot.
Yeah.
The other side of it for me, and I don't know if you ever used it like this, but the other side of it for me was kind of like watching game film.
Oh yeah.
How did we listen here? How did we do that? How did that transition go? Like I would pick it apart like that. I eventually stopped doing that.
Yeah,
after 5 years,
and just quit listening altogether. Like I don't even listen to it anymore.
Yeah, I check it right now for the ad drops just to make sure that those are good, and that's about it.
Yeah.
So
I used to come on. I go, I gotta quit laughing out of my nose, because you would hear us like this.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh God, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
Remember, you made me get like, first I had like sort of like before earbuds were earbuds. They were I had wired earbuds, kind of like this. And then like you'd be like, yeah, those like you got to get something else. So I went and got the snowball mic. And you like put it on the day. You're like, nope, that's not good. So I had for a couple of podcasts, I'd hold it in my hand. This was before anything was on video. Like we didn't even see each other. Remember?
Yeah.
Like we weren't even seeing. Like when I met you.
Yeah.
You came down, stayed at my house because you were going to a game. We were going to a game. You were nice enough to take me. I had never seen you before.
Yeah. I remember that. And
you got out of the car.
And you were like, holy shit.
And Brian's 6'4", 3, what?
What do you think? I don't know. I'm not going to tell you. What do you
Dude,
think?
you were like 6'4", 380 at the time.
Fair enough.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
this is going to be the biggest person that I see in my life for like the next 6 months, hands down.
Yes, I am not a tiny person at all.
No.
No.
No, not at all.
No.
I was like, holy shit. But yeah, so we do.
You know what my first impression of you, Ren, was
he's
like?
He's not 6'4", 380.
No. My first impression was like, holy shit, he's old.
Oh yeah.
Like, because in my head, dude, because you have the voice for somebody who's never seen your face. You sound like you're in your 20s.
Yeah, I have a young voice.
Yeah,
a lot of people told me that.
Yeah, you sound like you're in your 20s, and like I had this picture of like this sort of, I don't know, like Zach Morris college kid. You know, like that was my picture, and then like you walk out in your turtleneck and long sleeve shorts or shirt in like the middle of summer in Florida.
Okay.
No.
Look at this. I even got my thermals on underneath this. God. It's like 70. I will never be the cold person. Ever.
No.
Ever.
Honestly, neither will I. Yes, I will. Anyway, so yeah, so we did that, and I mean, I guess over the years we have seen lots of other people jump in and out of the Bucks podcasting realm. We've had people like James Money Hill, who's jumped in and started the YouTube thing. I think he really kicked off that.
Doing really well.
And he's doing great and fantastic. And again, he brought something new to the conversation. Our friends James and David jumped from the Pewter Plank over to Bucks Nation, and they had their podcast, and they got hooked up with Locked On, brought a whole new flavor to the deal. I mean, Ren, we've seen it.
We've seen it all.
Oh, we really have. Yeah. But we've made so many good friends. And people that I don't know what people I would actually call because I ain't got any friends up here where I live. But people that I would actually call friends, generally friends, people that I've been to their house, I've stayed with them. Some have come up this way. People I've seen at games. We've collaborated on various shows before, and it's been a hell of a ride over the last bunch of years. And not to mention that, but I will also say, one of the cool things is, and I did this on purpose, and I'm glad that it works out, but getting to connect with the listeners.
Yeah.
Like actually getting to know our listeners. And I'm thinking of Chef, and I'm thinking of Chris from VA, who was from Alaska, who was from Hawaii, who was from the Galapagos Islands, or whatever the hell he's moved around to all these years.
Right. Yeah.
We watched Chef get married, and we've seen people have kids, been out to Arizona, got to meet Gene, and go out to his house. I think WrestleMania or something was on. And so I sort of crashed his wrestling party.
Oh, really? He had like a bunch of people over to watch wrestling?
Yeah. And he's like, yeah, come on by. And I'm like, I got my wife and my two kids. I'm like, hi. But like we've seen, I mean, James and then Mark and Michael Pless over at Real Bucks Talk.
Yeah. Remember the Bucks and Brews guy?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Hey, if those guys are watching at all, shout out to you guys, because we started it like the exact same time.
Yeah.
Was Bucks and Brews. I think they started like 2 weeks after I did.
Yeah.
So they're like, hey, you're like old at this and been doing this for a while. I'm like, no, like 2 weeks, man.
They're like, yeah.
But they were. I always sort of felt like Bucks and Brews was like a sister podcast to me, or like like how the Bucks and the Seahawks are kind of sister organizations because they started in the same season.
Right.
I kind of always felt that about them, and
I saw them tweet about 3 months ago.
Yeah.
And I was like,
been
hey.
Again. Yeah.
I'm like, where have you guys been?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, college is over.
Yeah. You can't stay out getting drunk anymore. So
it was like at first, when I would listen to it, I was like, what is this? Because it's like four guys sitting around a glass table, and you can just imagine like
one microphone in the middle,
unfurnished like apartment, because
there's
they're all
a stool in the middle of the room, a couple bean bags,
with one microphone laying in the middle, and
somebody's on a pool floaty.
Yeah. Someone's in an air like a chair that you have to blow up. The other one's in like one of the ones that fold out with the two cup holders in it. If you take the tailgating, one's a camping chair, I guess. Yeah, and all you just hear is just like all podcasts, like just cracking beers, cracking. I'm like, what is this?
Right.
But then after a while, you know, as with anything that you become fond of, if you stick with it long enough, like you start to learn the people and sort of their personalities. And when they stay true to them, you kind of know what to expect. And it ended up being a fun listen, you know, like they make
Right.
beer bets and have to like, you know,
Yeah.
Peyton Barber's going to get 100 yards this week, and if they didn't get it, they'd chug a beer like on like during
I
recording.
made a few beer bets with them back in the day,
Beer
and I think I lost every one that I made. So
yeah, I remember those guys.
Yeah. So we did that. I mean, but I mean, like, let me ask you this: we've had a chance to interview a lot of guests. Do you have a favorite over the last 5 years?
A favorite guest?
Yeah.
I think when I do Ren's training camp journal,
and
it's just me, I like those.
Well, good news, Ren. You're about to have that opportunity to bring it back.
I was thinking about this because I was like, what questions should I ask Brent for this thing? Mm-hmm. And I think like, and I don't really have a favorite guest. I really don't. Like I've had ones that I've enjoyed more than others.
Sure.
But it's kind of like, you know, like Derek old school likes to say, it's all ice cream. You know, It's all good. Like if I only have vanilla ice cream for the rest of my life, like as long as it's made from, you know, Madagascar Gapscar vanilla beans, like I'm more than happy.
Right. You still have ice cream.
Yeah, but I'm also more than happy if all I get is strawberry, or all I get is
Right.
chocolate, or all I get is Rocky Road, or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but I was thinking like when, you know, I guess year 2 we started trying to get actual media members. Mm-hmm. Year 1 for me, year 2 for you. Actual media members. When did it sort of sink in like, holy shit, I can't believe this person said yes and I'm going to talk about football with them? Because for me, like I'd listen like you had listened to What the Buck. I never listened to Chris Fisher's show. I didn't know it was out there.
Right.
Like it finished before I even knew it was out there. Like I wasn't even sure what a podcast was.
Right.
Like, I couldn't like when I was on one.
Right.
And I really couldn't explain it to somebody at the time. Like what is it? I'm like, it's kind of like radio, but you know, on-demand radio. It's kind of like what I would tell people.
Right.
So, you know, but I would hear Cook come on a lot with Derek.
Right.
So, you know, when he would come on our show, like being year 1 for me, year 2, or we'd had Scott Reynolds, like I kind of expected them guys to say yes.
Yeah.
So I think it was really Greg Allman.
I was gonna say Greg, and I think I had Greg on once during the first year, but I mean there was something different when you came on to the show, where I think I think you and I melded really well, really, really fast, and we bounced off each other really, really fast. And when we started doing those media interviews, especially, yeah, I want to say Greg Allman was sort of that first, like, we got somebody, and like that guy's like legit, you know?
Right. Like I can't believe these people want to talk Buccaneers football with us.
Yeah. Or like they're not going to charge me money for some sort of talent fee or something like
that. Like haven't they listened to our show before? Like what are they said what? They said yes? Like really?
Right.
Like okay.
Right.
But I think when I know that, let me ask you this, like, and I think I know the answer, so yeah, I'm being unfair here, but like, well, let me ask you your question right back at you. Like, who was your favorite, or one of your favorites, or one of the shows that you liked the most?
Well, I think the one that immediately my mind goes to is probably the highest profile guest we've ever had was Terry Bradshaw.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean that guy was just a hoot to talk to.
Yeah.
You know? And
he was very nice to us.
He was incredibly, and what I remember most about that is you're sitting there going, "Holy shit, that's Terry Bradshaw!" Like that's for real, because they reached out to us. I didn't reach out to them. They reached out to us because they were doing
Terry Bradshaw. Do you want to come on our Buccaneers centric podcast?
No, and my first thought was that's bullshit. This is not Terry Bradshaw. No way. And we went, well, let's see what happens and let's move on. But yeah, we were talking about Buck Nasty getting into the Hall of Fame.
Right.
And he comes on and like his handler guy was like, look, you got to make sure you're talking about the Hall of Fans. But he'll talk about some other stuff too if you want to. And I was like, what the hell would we talk about? And like they were pretty strict, like 15 minutes or whatever the timeline on that was.
You could tell he was just doing this. He was sitting at his desk on the phone, just doing this all day long.
Had a list of people he was calling across, for whatever groups. And I kept looking out there to see like what other Buccaneers podcast he was going to be on, because I figured he'd be on a couple. He wasn't.
Yeah,
it was just ours. So super cool. So I want to say thank you to Terry if he's ever listening, or his people, whoever called us and said, hey, we want to do your show. That was super awesome. I also really enjoyed the author that we got, not the Bruce Arians book, but the other one, the oh crap, what was his name? I'm trying to find the book on my shelf over there right now.
Lars Anderson, wasn't it?
No, that was the Bruce Arians one. I'm talking about the other guy, the Yucks, the guy who wrote the Yucks.
Right, mine's on my desk in the other room.
Jason Buick was his name.
Like Buick.
That was a super cool interview to me, because that was the first time we reached outside of the Tampa Bay media market, and we got kind of somebody that, and it wasn't just a media person talking about what's currently happening with the Buccaneers, so I definitely, that was one of my favorites as well. I hate to pick anybody within the Bucks ecosystem, because I like them all and they're all there.
Well, I don't like them all. I mean, I do like them all.
That's fair.
I like the way they approach their job. Some of them, the way they do it more than others.
Fair enough.
But I like them all. And I guess, kind of what I was going to ask earlier, a big thing for you was like Stroud was kind of like, you're like, holy shit. Like, this is motherfucking Rick Stroud.
Rick Stroud was sort of like the apex, because Stroud doesn't go on people's podcasts.
No, he doesn't. And he hasn't been back on ours. After we've asked, and he hasn't been back on ours.
Right.
And we've asked many times.
Right.
Or emailed at least. Not like I've seen him personally.
Yeah. And Stroud said it. I mean, Stroud was the one who said, he's like, look, one of the cool things about your podcast is you get to go into a long form deep dive on stuff. Like, it's designed to be a much longer talk.
Right.
And lengthier talk. Whereas what he has to do with his show or his articles is it's got to be very concise.
Mm-hmm.
Very small, where our show is designed. And honestly, I think it was hearing Rick say that gave me permission as a show producer to really loosen up with how tightly I felt like I was controlling the show, and allow the show to just sort of grow and evolve and not try to short circuit a conversation.
Right.
Now I still have always I've always had this running clock in my, even right now, I have a running clock in my head of what's going on with the show and when do we need to move on to the different topics, or, when I was okay, that's enough talking about that. Let's move on to something else. I still have that, but I think it was almost Rick sort of gave me permission to like, no, let that dive a little bit deeper, and go forward, go as far as it needs to go, I guess.
Okay, good. I thought you were going to do a Star Trek thing.
No. Go boldly. No.
Yeah.
That would be dumb.
I thought you were gonna... Well,
hey, real quick, I just want to say thank you to Kyle, who sent us a super chat. Said one last one. Farewell from Ohio. Thank you. I'm not leaving yet. I'll still be around for the next couple of weeks.
And we owe C-Dub an apology. He left a super chat last on Buck in the News, and we ignored it. Yeah.
I saw you say something like, hey, DM me about something, and I thought you were going to talk to him, and I wasn't quite sure, so I just sort of let that go.
Put it up on the screen. Yeah. We also forgot to do Skulls and Swords on the
podcast. Yeah. Oops. Anyway, we won't forget this thing.
Senioritis.
Yeah, there you go. I'm leaving the show. I don't give a shit anymore. Whatever.
Weeks ago.
Look, show's hit an hour. I'm out, guys. Deuces. That's my time.
Deuces. 55 minutes. Got 5 minutes of commercials. Peace.
Right.
Laters.
Deuces. So yeah, I do want to. Well, I don't know.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll throw it back over to you. Like, what you said you had like questions or anything you wanted to ask. So
No, I didn't. I said I was just thinking of some questions to ask.
okay.
And that's about as far as I got.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I will tell you what I think is. I can't say that it's my favorite memory, but it's one of my favorite memories, and one of my favorite, I think, episodes we've ever done. It was a show called, crap, what did I name it? One Short Day at One Buck Place.
Remember when we used to stay up like
Yeah.
after? Okay, get this. So not only will we do a 3.5 hour podcast, and I would stay on with Brent and just talk and, like you said earlier, become friends. Then we would have a 20-minute conversation what to name the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Man, we used to care.
And then we got smart. And we're like, look, we don't need to spend 20 minutes on a freaking title.
Right.
Just put it up there, say what it is, let's go. Yeah. And I mean, frankly, all of that kind of stuff factors into what's going on here. Like, I don't have because here's the thing. I can't stay up till 2-3 o'clock in the morning putting this crap together, because you know what? I got to be up in the morning because those kids are going to come bouncing on my chest at 7 o'clock in the morning, whether I like it or not.
I have cats.
Yeah. Yeah, but you can throw. No, I'm not going to say that. Never mind.
Food in the bowl and then go back to bed, which is exactly what I do.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, go throw food in the bowl and then go back. Actually, sometimes you can do that with kids too. Here, have all the Fruit Loops, all of them. Don't leave one on the floor. Go.
I can't wait till you learn how to use the microwave.
But no, it was called my favorite episode. One of my favorite episodes we've ever done. One of the most memorable ones was One Short Day at One Buck Place. And what had happened was I had gotten an invite from the guys at Pewter Report.
Oh, yeah.
To come down, and it was the very first time I ever had a media credential in my life. And I was able to get into the facility, and I was there as a media member for the day with them and their organization. And I came back from that, and you're like, we're doing a pod about that right now. Sit down. I want to hear every last detail, recount every second of your entire day right now. What did you see? And it was kind of like it was one of the first times I think that as fans we had ever gotten like an inside look at the facility.
Yeah, we got
from
in the
that
door.
Perspective. Yeah, right.
Yeah, and we got in the door. You got in the door. Yeah, because I wanted to know. Like, I was insanely jealous. I mean, not like mad at you, but it was just like, yeah, you son of a bitch. I remember like, and talk about being naive, like we talked about earlier, like, I remember how disappointed I was at the media room wasn't like overstuffed leather chairs with like this thick with cigar smoke. Right. And guys just like, rah, 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 rah. I remember when Ty Cobb spiked, Pete Rose, like, rah, rah. And you're like, no, it's like a library.
It's
like
a library.
It's a college library. No one talks to anybody. All you hear is people clicking on their computers.
There's cubicles.
They're all
set up.
Heads down. It's very, office.
Whisper.
Yeah, it was just. And I remember when I went in there the first time, and I'm like, yeah, that's what he said it was. But the chairs are pretty nice. Yeah,
they're comfy. I'll give you that. I mean, they're not leather chairs. They're just little office chairs.
But they're office chairs. Like, it's not like the metal, folding chair or some type of plastic stackable chair. I mean, it's a there's cushions on it, and it rocks and rolls.
Right. They don't all squeak.
They don't all. Some do.
Some do. Some don't.
Yeah.
I remember this when Ren did finally go to One Buck Place. It was on like a behind the scenes tour, and they're like,
oh, yeah.
Does anybody notice anything special about the carpet? And Ren, like, I think you were just trying to say it loud enough so I could hear, but you said it loud enough for everyone in the room to hear. You go, yeah, it's ugly.
It's ugly as shit.
But it was not a whisper. It was a
no. I think I started out like saying it to you, but halfway through thought like you know what, lady, you need to hear this. Fucking ugly as shit.
And I think, cause she stopped and she goes, No, it has ships in it or
Yeah,
flags in
flag.
it. Whatever.
It has a Buck
They're
emblem
flag.
in it.
Yeah, they're Bucks flags in it. Yeah.
It's airport or movie theater carpet for lack, for a better explanation for
hotel
people.
carpet. Every time I'm in a hotel and I'm walking across any kind of a pattern that could look nothing like what they have in the Buccaneer facility, it's that kind of monotonous pattern.
Yeah, it's very, very busy. So when you drop pieces of paper or popcorn or whatever, it doesn't show up.
Right.
Because the pattern is just so busy and ugly and crazy. And they have that in one Buck place. They're proud of it and they point it out.
Because it looks like Bucks flags.
Because it has Buck flags in them.
But they're interwoven. How do I do this on the camera? Like they're like interwoven. It's like a Bucks flag this way and a Bucks flag this way, and like they nestle into each other. Anyway, so getting to have that, but then I mean, Ren, we got to talk about over the last couple of years having media credentials.
Oh yeah,
getting media credentials. I mean, when that happened, it's like, okay, yeah. Because I will say this, and I fully thought this. When I started the PewterCast, I went, hey, I can get media credentials now and go to any game I want for free because now I'm covering the Bucks. That's going to be awesome. And yeah, like I remember the very first time I had Scott Reynolds on the show, and I get him to the end. I'm like, Scott, you've been doing this for like 20 some odd years. Man, how did you become a fan? Like, that must be awesome to cover a team. Like, you got to really love the Bucks to cover them for that long. And he's like, I couldn't give two shits about the Bucks. I'm not a fan. I'm a media guy. Like, this is my job. And I was like, oh, okay.
Or wait, remember when they invited you because they had launched their podcast,
right?
Which, by the way, we brought them kicking and screaming. We kept badgering them, and they wouldn't do it. And then Trevor came aboard, so we started badgering Trevor.
Yeah, Trevor basically looked at him and went, "You guys need to start a podcast."
And then we had him on, and then they had like a bowling event at Pin Chasers, which they always do. And I went up to introduce myself to Trevor for the first time.
Yeah,
and I'm like, "Hey, it's Ryan." He goes, "Why do you want us to do a podcast? Your guys is great." And I was like, "Thanks."
Really? I never heard that.
Yeah, and I was like, "Thanks." And it's because we're not in the room, Trevor.
Yeah.
It's because we don't get open locker. And this is before they started broadcasting all the interviews.
All the press conferences.
The press conferences. Yeah. Like now you can watch them live on YouTube or Facebook. Watch them on YouTube. Do not watch them on Facebook. Has nothing to do with Facebook, but Facebook just gets spammed with an Indian website on how to watch NFL games. And it's been like that forever. Just go watch them on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and then what was I going to talk about? Darn it. So you had gone there to help them because they had like a faulty wire. It ended up being they were having trouble
they
with
were
their
charging
sound.
money for their podcast, and it was like the whole that was nice. That was a nice sound for whatever it was that they had going on.
Yeah. So you fixed it, and you had and you were going down there, and Mark Cook probably DM'd you and said just
the night before, yeah.
Go ahead.
And the night before, I was like, okay, Mark, so I'm coming down because I live in Jacksonville. This is a 3.5 hour trip. I'm getting in my car and I'm driving the next morning. And he's
after not sleeping because you're so excited.
No, wait, no, I think I actually went and stayed in a hotel that night because I needed to be there early in the morning. Anyway, I didn't care. I was leaving. And I was packing, the stuff, and Mark's like, yeah, so just, go to the gate, let them know you're there with me, have them call me if they need to. Oh, and by the way, he says, and of course, don't wear any Bucks gear. Of course, while I receive that message, I'm in my closet, pulling out my Buccaneer shirts, and I go, of course not. I put them back.
Yeah. Well, I'm part of the media press now. I'm not a fan anymore.
Right.
Yeah. As you turn around and look at your bed, it's just covered in Buck stuff.
That's exactly right. And I get there, and I was like, because every Buccaneers staff member is wearing team issue stuff.
Yeah.
You're either in a suit or you're in team issue. That's it. And I was like, it actually makes sense why they don't want media people wearing Buccaneers stuff outside of just the not being a fan. It's hard to tell who works there and who it's part of their uniform, I guess.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah.
That was one of those behind the scenes things that I told you. Yeah, you're right. It was,
Yeah.
Of course not.
And then, don't be silly. Or the first time where you talk about media credentials, we got to go to training camp.
Yeah.
And watch the Bucks practice because we got to start off in the media room, and and sit in the same room with everybody.
Can like we can ask a question?
Yeah.
Like we're texting our PR guy and can I talk to a player? Is that allowed?
Who can I talk to? Who can I talk to? Can I run out on the field and intercept the pass?
He's like, you're probably not going to talk to Jameis or Gerald or Mike, but ask me about anybody else.
But there's a guy. There's a safety fifth on the depth chart from
Patrick O'Connor's over there. You can talk to him.
Yeah, before he has a sack. 5 years before he has a sack.
Right. Oh, this is cool.
But
John Mamola says he's always enjoyed our content, fellow guys like you. Continue to push guys like us in WDA. Happy holidays. Thanks, John.
Thanks, John. I wonder if he knows that you're quitting. Yeah. Oh, and to John, this is and also something I wanted to tease you about. I'm not WDA, of course, local radio station here. You've heard of it, but I'm not sure. Do you know who Ron Diaz is?
I know who he is now. I didn't before getting into this job. Yeah, I just saw that he retired. Yeah.
Yeah. So you and Ron Diaz are retiring together. But hey, Jay Retcher, who we brought on recently, and I was like, he's the best sports mind at the station.
Yeah.
Is
he stepping into that spot?
Yeah. Yeah. So congratulations.
Good on him.
Jay. Yeah. Congratulations,
Jay. I'm going to tell you guys this. There will be a PewterCast award. We always do one called PewterCast Guest of the Year. Jay Retcher should be on that list and very well should probably win that because he was fantastic to have on this show.
He was.
And I'm saying that without thinking through everybody else who's been on the show because we've had a lot of people this year. So no diss to anybody else. I'm just saying Jay was fantastic when he came on the show.
Yeah, he had and so you kind of understand what I meant. He had a very thought out, well-informed opinion on anything we asked him.
Yeah. Do you remember? Okay, so interviewing media members or just people, like you always knew it was going to be a good interview when you would remember we'd like stay up and like we'd each have like a list of questions we wanted to ask and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And then we're like, we got to a point with anybody where it'd be like, okay, so Mike Evans, and they go for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. Dirk Cutter said this in the press conference, and they'd go for 20 minutes. And you're like, this is the easiest thing ever.
Yeah, I know. It's just, to get people to agree, like, I don't have to do anything. Just got to get them on the show. Right. Yeah, we'd have like 5-6 questions each, and we told them we'd have them on 20 minutes to half an hour. And we get to 2 of yours minutes. And 2 of mine. Yeah. And that was it. And, like, Lord. I'm like, all right, this is different. But again, this is, and plus podcasting was so new back then.
Yeah.
Well,
everybody in the media room has their own podcast now, except for Jenna Lane. And she might even have one. We just don't know what it is.
Greg doesn't have one.
Doesn't he?
Does he?
I don't know. He and Jenna do it together. Well, no, but
what?
I'm completely making that up. No, Greg and Jenna do not have their own podcast together. But I mean, Jenna was doing the radio hit with Trevor and Rick and
Still is,
yeah.
Still is. Scott has taken Trevor's spot, and Ledger has stepped in a couple of times when Scott was out.
There you go. Who's the other one? It was Pat Donovan.
Stroud.
Wasn't there one
more? No, it was Donovan, Stroud, Donovan, Stroud, Jenna and Trevor,
and then Scott,
and now it's Scott.
Yeah. So anyway, so I mean, so she has that going on, and Jenna, God bless her with the ESPN role. Who knows what all they restrict her to? I got to tell you one of the coolest moments. One of the coolest moments in the year was when I managed to get this recording.
Touchdown Tampa Bay. You're listening to the PewterCast.
I found the raw recording of that.
Of you talking about it? Of you saying, I want to hear it. I haven't heard it for a long time.
I found it the other. I'm not sure where it is. I found it the other day.
So Brett and I are at training camp, but we're not media credentialed yet. Right. I think it's the year before we got credentialed. And we're hanging out, and they're on the outside fields, and they have the bleachers with the awnings up, canopies up. And the players would come over and sign autographs. And Brent, like at the time, I've totally lost this, but at the time I was a big person, like big in my personality was like, I don't want to bother them.
Yeah.
It's like I don't want to but now I kind of understand, like, if you ask, they're just going to say yes. And if they say no, and most people, honestly, they don't even tell you no. They just won't respond to you.
Right.
So you really don't get rejected at all. You just get ghosted, which is fine. But
Right.
so we're working along the fence. We're way down at the end, way up by the building, farthest from the entrance as you can get, as far as where the fans come in. And Brent's up there with he's got his headphones on, and he's got his little handheld recorder, and he's got a mic with like a 25-foot cord. He's got all curled up, and he's he's waving his mic in front every Dirk Cutter you're waving in front of, like you're waving in front of everybody.
I'm getting audio from everybody, man.
Getting it from everybody, just like no doesn't no care in the world, like big brass balls, just sticking a microphone in everybody's face, and yeah, I didn't see you, but that's where you got Deckerhoff, and I didn't see you get it, but I remember you being excited about it.
Yeah, I found it here. I got the whole thing. You want to listen to it?
Yeah,
it's about 15 seconds long. So here we go. Nope, not that one. Here. There we go.
On the microphone? Okay.
Yeah,
all right. Touchdown, Tampa Bay. Fire them cannons.
All right. Can you say you're listening to the PewterCast?
I guess I can. I don't.
Is that okay?
Usually they tell me I can't. But
if you can't,
touchdown, Tampa Bay. You're listening to the PewterCast.
There it is.
You suckered him in. Can you do the hey Gino? We got Tampa Bay. Oh right. wait, before you go, we won't use this, but can you say PewterCast?
I didn't say we won't use it. I just said, can you say you're listening to the PewterCast? I wanted to stay shady. By the way, so here's like, because he goes, oh, I'm not really like he did this like I'm not really supposed to. Like he looked around to see if anybody was close by. And he goes, oh, I guess I can, and he just did it for me. Like because Gene is a super personable guy. Like I've gotten to have several conversations with him post that. Like he always remembered me. Like later, like as a like with full credentials, like he always remembered me in subsequent years. And knew who I was, which is awesome. Like, hey, they know me. They know who I am now.
Another plus of being 6'4".
I guess, yeah. hard to forget, right? Yeah, he that. But before doing that, like, because I was just trying to find anyone from the team to do that because like that's what I wanted. I didn't necessarily want fire. I just wanted to, hey, you're listening to the PewterCast, or this is so and so, and you're listening to PewterCast. They had the cheerleaders set up out there. And I was like, okay, this is the closest I've got right now. And I went up and like asked a couple of the cheerleaders, and one of their like handlers, like for the Bucks, that came over and was like, they can't do that. You got to get that out of their face. Like slapped me down. So when I asked Gene Deckerhoff, like I had in the back of my head, like, oh, well, apparently they don't allow their people to do stuff like this. But better to ask permission.
Exactly. Ask for forgiveness, never permission.
So I was surprised he did it. I was shocked that he did it. And now at the beginning of every single episode,
touchdown Tampa Bay. You're listening to the PewterCast.
So Gene Deckerhoff, thank you. You made my podcast.
For the last like few shows you're on, you should start from the point where you ask him to say, play that again. I want to hear that whole thing. Play it again. I want to hear the whole thing again. Yeah.
On the microphone? Okay.
Yeah,
all right. Touchdown Tampa Bay. Fire them cannons.
I'm going to do that one from now on too.
Say you're listening to the PewterCast?
I guess I can.
Okay?
I don't.
Is that okay?
Usually they tell me I can't. But
if you can't, I don't want to get you in trouble.
Touchdown Tampa Bay. You're listening to the PewterCast.
Can you say it? I like to prefer in the microphone. Gene, the microphone.
but I mean, but that's something like, look, I don't want you to get in trouble. Yeah. I don't want you to get in trouble. But if you can, that'd be cool.
I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to get you thrown in jail. But
I don't want to get you fired or anything.
But yes, that's exactly what I would like you to do.
Okay, I can do that. Turns out I can make that happen. Anyway.
Yeah.
So we've had that, and then remember when this parlayed into actual full media credentials for, about 6 weeks?
Oh, the Apollos.
With the Apollos, yeah.
What did we Showtime with the Apollos? We
Showtime
did the Showtime with the Apollos podcast. God, I hated doing that pod after.
I hated that show. You know what I realized in that show? I didn't care about that team at all. And doing a show on a team that you don't care about sucks.
Yeah. It's like
You know?
it's like being a beat reporter.
But you know what I was convinced of
What's
was if we do the show and we get to know these players and we get to know what's happening and we get to like if we just got into it, we'd be fine. You know? And then
the Apollos, yeah.
This team is going to blow up every single year, and it's like a one and done team every year. Like there are going to be no storylines to follow.
Yeah.
You know, but what we got out of that was we got to know what it was like to be in a press room, in a press box, and why we don't actually want to be in the press box. Guys, listen to me. If you're a fan and you want to watch the game, buy a ticket and go sit in the stands. Don't go to the press box. It's a horrible place to watch the game if you're trying to just watch the game.
I would say go to the press box, but as with me with my leather chairs and the brandy and crystal and the cigar smoke that I expected to be in the media room, be prepared to be disappointed in the press box. Yeah. But I think if you have a chance to do it once, do it.
Oh yeah. No, I'm just saying
but if you have one shot to see the Buccaneers play all season, and like you have a choice of like seeing it in the press box or in the stands, go to the stands.
Yeah, because and the reason for that, just so people know, when you're in the press box, you are completely cut off from what's happening in the stadium. Like the energy, the mood, the momentum, the like all of those things that make going to a game fun. You're completely cut off from that. Like you don't even really hear the roar a whole lot up in the press box either. At least from where we were. And Apollo's games weren't necessarily empty. Like they had pretty
good crowds.
So anyway, but yeah, we got to learn what that was like, and it was enough for me to go, like, honestly, like I played it forward in my mind. If we ever actually had full credentials with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I wouldn't want to watch the game from the press box. Like I'd still want to buy a ticket and go be in the stands. The only thing I want the credential for is to go to the press conference after and be somebody who gets to ask the questions.
Yeah. I'd want to be in the press box.
And thus the difference between you and me.
Yeah.
But
I don't have the Publix commercial blaring in my ears all the time.
Right. You hate this. You hate the stadium. We've covered that.
I just hate I hate the way they treat me as a fan.
I get it.
I'm not going to whip out my phone and push the yellow truck to make sure it wins the tug of war with the blue truck. I don't care. Let me talk to the person next to me, but it's so loud you can't.
Right.
So, yes, we have covered that. DJ Kitty,
you know what you're not going to have anymore is someone to edit your very long-winded speeches anymore.
Good. Give the people what they want. Finally.
Oh, people, the number of times I have taken a 20-minute diatribe from Ren and cut it down to like 6.
I've quit just saying like you've neutered me. Like I've quit even bringing it up. And it's happened recently, by the way. Like this year. Yeah.
A couple of times.
Yeah. The same show. Like I went off on a couple of people. And Brent made it sound like, I really wish you wouldn't burn the cookies. I was like, that's a bitch. But I'm like, The way I look at it is like you're trying to protect me or the show or both.
Both. And a lot of it's you.
Most of it's the show. But yeah.
My first priority is the show, yes.
It used to get me very upset. But now I'm just like, whatever.
But I also always made you a promise. Like,
I would never let you know I'm doing it.
No, because as the owner and producer of the show, I always maintain that right. But I was never going to change the context of what you said. Now I may eliminate a thing altogether, but if I'm editing something that you said into something smaller, I'm never going to change the
make it sound like it's changed my point of view.
Yeah. I was going to always keep that intact. Like I was always trying very careful. Like I want you to be able to say what you want to say or put out your opinion on how you wanted to put it out. But I didn't need it to be 25 minutes either on the same topic. Like that was it. That's really that was mostly it. So anyway, with that, Ren, I can see I'm boring you. And
no, that was my shock face. Like,
yeah.
25 minutes to me is gold, buddy.
Yeah. Wait, listen, people out there are about to get a whole lot longer of you.
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe we'll see. We'll see. So anyway, so that's it. So we come out here and I'm leaving the show into the season.
That's it.
Yeah. Could have happened last year.
I knew this was coming for a while.
Did you?
I could tell last year, like every off season, I get a little upset with you about trying to nail you down to a time and a day and all that kind of stuff, and then we'll record, and you're like, okay, I'll get it out tonight, bye. And then like we record like on a Monday, and then like Thursday afternoon, I'm like, hey, where's the show? But I've come to learn that, that was sort of like, I guess, your trade-off with your family. It's like, during the off season, it's really family first type of deal. So, I understood that was just something I was going to have to live with. But during the season, I could tell it was like wearing on you. And like you said, like by that time, halfway through the season last year, like it become a machine. It's like we didn't have to take notes. We already knew what we were going to talk about coming in. Like,
I used to sit and watch games with my phone in hand, taking notes, like play-by-play notes or like quarter-by-quarter notes. And I don't do that anymore.
Nah. No one appreciates it. No. Or it's like when I did the DAX stats for like 6 games.
Yeah.
And then I quit and no one said a word. No one said a word when I did them. And then when I quit doing them, no one's like, hey, where are DAX stats? Like, no one cares. And I'm like, this is a lot of freaking work. I'm keeping a running tally. Yeah, so, it just like, and you're more of a creative person. And, that's what it is for you. It's all about the creativity and the process of the creation is what you like and what drives you. And, halfway through last year, the team's losing. The show is like, not that the content's bad, but we just had it, it was just down pat and just kind of churning them out, It's like after the game this day, after, Wednesday we do this, Thursday we do that, and Friday we do this, and then keep going over and just do it over and over and over again for like 16 weeks. I could just tell that it was wearing on you. And, it's not like you hated it, but you weren't excited about it anymore.
Everything you said there is 100% fair and accurate. And I even remember listening to Buck Nasty when we had him on, or Big Nasty, Buck Nasty, to Big Nasty, and he even said the line like, look, when this isn't fun anymore, that's when I'm going to quit. And I remember him saying that, and I just kind of went, yeah, but I mean, here's the thing that like part of what made this decision so hard is the show is doing better than it ever has before.
Yeah.
I mean, it like if the show started tanking, that makes it a little easy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's kind of like walk away. No one really notices.
Right. Like despite the 843 other Buccaneers podcasts that are out there, our numbers continue to climb every single year.
Yeah. And no offense to John Momola. I don't know if he's still watching or not, but we just made the Final Four at Bucks Media. We beat WDAE in a popularity contest.
Right. Without a lot of campaigning.
No.
Yeah, like
we don't have it anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you got? What does PewterCast got? Like, not even 3,000 followers.
We do now. We have over 3,000 now.
Okay, yeah. I'm like, I think I just broke 2,000.
Yeah.
Maybe
I personally have like 1,100. Y'all can follow me. Hey, y'all want to keep up with me? Find me at Burndown Live.
Yeah.
Because I'm not running the PewterCast anymore after like a couple more weeks.
Yes, they can. Oh, excuse me. They can see you tweet about how the first base umpire just doesn't like your team.
We don't. There's only one umpire for Little League. There's no first base guy.
Where does he stand?
Sometimes he stands over like between
base?
home plate, third plate, and sometimes it's between third and first. Sometimes he's by the pitcher. It just depends on where he wants to stand.
Third and home plate? How can he see first base?
It's 90 feet, 45 feet away. I don't know how far it is. I've never got a measuring tape out and measured. It's not that far. But I will tell you, to your point there, I have often sat there and gone, are you blind? I could see that from over here. He was safe by a mile.
By a mile.
Like, you weren't even looking at first. You were looking at third. What are you doing? How are you calling him safe? Like,
you can't look at two places at once. He's got to be safe no matter what.
Or out. This guy was safe. That guy. No, yeah. Anyway. But yeah. I forget what we were talking about.
Back to that. Talk about the old days.
Yeah. The old days.
What?
Yeah.
What were we talking about? I don't know.
Yeah, and so last year, I said to Penny, I was like, Penny, I'm done. I'm done with the show. I'm out. And then she said, no, you're not allowed to quit. She's like, you just need a break. That's what she told me. She's like, you need a break from the show, and you're about to get that. And and truthfully, like every year, because it's such a grind, we're doing 3-4 shows a week.
We were doing 4 shows a week for 3 years.
Right. And that doesn't start in September for us. That started in July. The run started in July because we would hit training camp.
Yeah.
And while you were doing Ren's Training Camp Journal, like there was a time when like I was still editing or putting them up, or I'm still trying to get down to training camp as often as I could, which was not as easy as it seemed.
Once sort of like mini camp starts, like we're all Bucks all the time, so it's not like it's not a 4-month gig.
It's not a 16-week deal. It's not that.
It's more of a 6-month gig.
Yeah, it really was. And by the time like you'd get to the end of it, I'd be like I hate to say this as a Bucks fan, I was kind of glad we didn't make the playoffs because I was done. And honestly, what I realized in Bucks podcast is once you hit the holidays, like once you hit Thanksgiving, especially if your team's doesn't have much to play for, but once you hit that, like between like Christmas parties and what you're doing and moving out, like there's not a lot of space for podcasts, and
the listenership starts to drop a bit,
and the listenership drops off in December quite a bit. And I've noticed that's been true slightly this year, not as dramatic as it's been in previous years. But things get predictable, and that was always one of the predictable things too. So, but yeah, it was hard. She said, no, you just need a break. You just need a break. And I will say this is true. And I think you probably felt the same way. You get to the end of the season, like, oh, I just need a break. And like, you go away for like a couple weeks. And then like, when we get back into it, it's like, I've kind of missed this. Like,
yeah,
I'm glad to be back I'm glad to hang out with you again, and hang out with and take the phone calls from people out there and do that. But
I haven't been able to tell my opinion to strangers for months. How have they survived? How are they still going on?
Right. So we would do that, and then we'd ramp up for the draft, and then was it rookie camp, and then mini camp, and then we'd be right back at it. And when they signed Tom Brady, and Penny's like, see, I told you not to quit. You're going to the Super Bowl this year. She told me that. She's like, you're going to the Super Bowl this year. And I went, whatever. I'd almost give it.
You didn't do the dance?
No. No. But, so we went in, and I got to tell you, this whole season for me has been the question of like, was it just because the Bucks have been losing, or is it really time?
Right.
And I've discussed this with Derek Fournier a bit. I've discussed this with Corey, maybe with Corey.
Play reaction, Corey.
Yeah, play reaction. I think Corey, if I'm wrong on that, don't. I know because I came and saw you in Atlanta, and we had a conversation about what it looked like stepping out. And then with some people who are not involved with the show at all and don't give two flying rips about the Bucks, who are just people in the podcasting world that I respect. And then obviously I had conversations with Penny. I thought long and hard about it. God, I make it sound like I talked with a whole lot of people. It wasn't. It was maybe like 3 or 4 people. But
then we had a commission. We did a poll.
Right. Ren was not a part of this at all. So the idea that you said, you saw it coming. I think that's what got us on this whole thing. Like, you saw it coming. I'm not surprised.
No,
I'm not surprised at all. And I think that's what I said to you when I first told you was, so you've probably seen this coming for quite a while. I'm leaving the show. And you're
Yeah.
like, yep, got it.
Yep. Okay. See ya.
Exactly.
Click. No, that's not
Right.
what happened. That's what I
Right.
felt like doing, though.
Yeah.
You abandoned me just like my pappy.
Oh.
Which isn't
Turns
true.
out- Yeah.
That's not true. No, I don't have
Happy
abandoned.
You say
You've abandoned me. Call me, you son of a bitch.
Hey, by the way, I also edit stuff like that out too, by the way.
What?
The weird caller we had on the show this past week.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I got that out.
Aw.
Because no, I'm not gonna. No, you're not gonna say that to my guy. I defend you a lot too, so a lot.
I'm sure you do. Yeah, that's something like all my partners have had to do.
Yeah.
And by partners, I mean girlfriends throughout my life. Like I can't tell you how many times I've just sort of like been in the, not only have they told me this, but sort of been in the other room or something, and it'd be like, well, just go ask him. Like I'm I don't control him. Like I'm not just his girl. Like, why are you talking to me?
Mm-hmm.
And that seems what people like to do when they, have a problem with something I say or something I do or something the way I act. And I will say in my younger years, they were more like the needle probably would point to their side more.
Uh-huh.
But I would, strand something like, I don't have to conform. I don't have to do this. I don't have to do that. But as I got older, I understood that I'm making it harder for the people in my life I'm supposed to care the most about. So just changing a little bit, I can still get my point across. Just don't be such a dick about it.
Yeah.
Just put it like a little bit of a different way. So I'm not shocked that, there's people sliding into your DMs going, what the hell is up with Ren? When are you going to get rid of that loser?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I want names.
And by the way, I'm sure that, I know because you've told me, like, you've had the people who are on the other side of like, dude, what's up with that Star Trek geeky Harry Potter loving nerd over there? You got to get rid of him, and like, you just take the show on yourself or whatever.
No, never.
Really? I thought you told me you had that.
I don't think so. Not that I can remember. No,
Yeah.
Never. I just agree with him. I know. Someday.
He's old enough. Anyway, don't forget, Ren, you're the narcissist, and I don't know anything about football.
It's true.
That's how that works.
Best email ever written.
So, all right. Well, Ren, here we are at an hour and a half. So why don't we go ahead and wrap this up? I think we've gone through that, but there'll be more to be said on this. But I will simply say this has been a blast. For all the slog that it seems like it's been for the last year and a half. It really is. You said this the other day. It might seem like it takes me a little bit to get into it, but like once I'm in it, like it usually turns on for me. And I think that's true. Like when I'm in the middle of a show, like I'm like, no, actually I really do love being here.
Yeah.
Like, and that's part of what makes this so hard, because I do enjoy this. I do enjoy getting to talk to you and to the other people who call in or join us in the chat. I mean, I think people like Prime and Corey from Memphis, even talking to that guy, or Corey from Nashville now, who calls in fairly frequently, or like I mentioned Chef or John Relios, who, remember when he first started trying to call? That was hilarious.
What I call him? Squeezy, Sniffy, like
Sweet Wheezy.
Wheezy. He's the penguin from Toy Story that missed the squeaker.
Right.
Another
guy that once I saw his face. Another guy that once I saw his face, I went, not what I pictured you to look like. Okay.
Oh, John?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did not know you were 12. Awesome.
Yeah, I thought he's older than 12.
He is older than 12. He's young.
Yeah.
Young.
But I thought he was like in his 30s.
Yeah.
When I first heard him.
Oh, yeah.
It was like, Woody, I've been put up on this shelf and no one just got forgotten about.
Right.
It was immediate. As soon as you started talking, like it just clicked in my head, and I just could not quit laughing. I'm like, oh my god.
Right. And then I think of our friends like Kevin
Sloan.
Yeah, Kevin Sloan.
Yeah, you took him on one of those tours.
Yeah, he went on one of those behind the scenes tours with us, and gotten to meet him a few times, and sometimes would see him at the game and get to go sit with him and stuff like that. So it's just, I mean, it's been a wild ride. The things we've gotten to do, the things the places we've gotten to go, getting to an open locker room, getting to be. There's more I would love to have done. I would have loved to have gotten that full credential. Like that would have been awesome. But I
Did you ever ask? Just for like
Yes.
one game?
Yes. And I never got a response.
They ghosted you, see? Yeah. They don't want to hurt your feelings. What is that nowadays? Like people just ghost you. Like they don't have like this. What is time sensitive? You know? Now I've wasted like 2-3 days waiting on your response when I could have been like trying to track somebody else down. I don't. Anyway, I'm not going to get my old man rant. Back in my day,
we actually respected people.
We
responded to their questions.
Told them to fuck off right to their face.
Oh, Ren, is the PG-13 rating just absolutely going out the window with you now?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah,
I thought so.
But I don't
kind of let it go. But
But I don't curse. Like I'm not gonna allow someone to come on or myself. I'm not gonna be like F it. It's just use it every once in a while.
Uncensored thing.
Yeah, that's not the shtick. But if you have to, you drop one every once in a while. You drop one every once in a while, and if somebody doesn't like it, fuck off.
Right. There you go.
Seriously.
Yeah.
There's 820 more to pick from. Fuck off.
Speaking of which, Javier, just quick shout out to Javier, who our perennial international guy.
Yeah, man.
Ukulele Pete, which we've gotten to know this past year.
Yeah.
He's been awesome. Just some of the international people, the folks over at UK Bucks has been great. I don't know. This show has been super cool and has absolutely meant the world to me. And
I knew it was gonna get like this, and you're gonna get into it. Start thinking about it. He's changing his mind.
I'm not leaving. I gotta stay.
He's like the Wolf of Wall Street. I ain't going anywhere, motherfucker.
But this is why I needed to do this show now, Ren, so that it wouldn't happen later. But the Bucks get on tear and they go to the Super Bowl, and they're like, "All right, deuces." Like I'm legitimately done, or just to be like, "No, I'm gonna stick around for another season."
I always sort of like used to make fun of my dad in my head because all his friends were people that he met through my athletic career. So when I played football, baseball, I kind of dropped out of basketball pretty early. So like when I played organized football and baseball, like when I hit high school, all my dad's friends were all my coaches, like my baseball coach and my football coach throughout the years. These people are still friends. Like they still go to Europe together and take trips together. And I always thought like my dad wouldn't have any friends if I didn't play sports. And now I sit here and I'm like, you talked about earlier how like you don't have any friends in Jacksonville. Like I work from home. So like I don't know anybody around me.
Right.
So it's like I think about it like all the people that I would quote unquote consider friends in my life right now are all people I've met because of the Buccaneers, because of the show.
Yeah. I mean, I think about the people that I know best in this town, and we moved here about 3 years ago, are the people that I know through Jude's baseball and karate stuff.
Yeah.
There's a handful of other people. Like there are two sets of people that have moved to this town from like previous points of my past life. And I hang out with those people every once in a while, but we have a very old, goes back a long way. But outside of that, that's really it. And frankly, I don't have much time. Like I couldn't have a ton of friends right now. Like.
And how do you make them? Like, oh, I see you get Oscar Mayer bologna too. Want to hang out and watch football? Like,
you want to give me half of your sandwich and I'll give you half of mine?
It's like where do you meet like guys to hang out with?
Right.
Where can a guy go meet friends in his 30s and 40s and hang out?
Right, because you know what I'm not doing on Sunday during a game is I'm not going to a bar.
Yeah.
I'm not going to the local Buccaneers bar.
Yeah.
Because my kids are here and I'm not going to abandon my family for 3 hours.
Maybe we should start a podcast where 30, 40-year-old men can meet up and be friends.
Play dates for 30-year-old men.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
30-year-old play date. That's what we're calling it.
Yeah. PD 30.
There you go. So anyway, so that's it. Now, just to be clear, nothing's changing until we hit the end of the season.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm still here. We're still doing Buck in the News.
My
We're still doing the PewterCast Live.
My opinion doesn't count. I'll never be heard.
I will edit it all out.
All my
anyway.
ideas will be squashed.
But I'm gonna stop giving a shit, and I'm just gonna tell people what the fuck I think about them now. Like, you're an idiot. Never call me again.
You've always been an idiot. Of all the people that I've come in contact with,
Ren, stop breathing in the mic. No.
Yeah, well, I can't do it. No.
Ren, just stop breathing altogether.
Why are you doing that? Like all day long, in and out, nonstop. Oh my God, you never stop. I've noticed that, like, I've become such a mouth breather when I'm outside because of the mask. Like, like I don't feel like I'll breathe through my nose for a little while, and then I'm like, why do I feel like I'm a little tired? Like I was like, so I have to open my mouth to get enough air and to keep the old legs moving. So I'm looking around. So I'm looking around. I'm going, look at all these goddamn mouth breathers.
And I are one.
And I get one. Y'all.
So anyway,
y'all the old flat jaw open catching flies.
It wouldn't be a PewterCast, Ren, if it didn't take us 15 minutes to sign off. So.
Oh yeah, that's my specialty. I save it. Unlike Cook, I save it. Oh,
you do that shit on purpose to me. Like I'm just trying to wrap up the show, and you're like, "Do you think that Chris Godwin likes mayonnaise on his grilled cheese sandwiches?"
If the moon was made out of blue cheese.
Going, what the fuck are you saying? Shut up, so I can finish the show. I gotta edit it and put it out so I can go to bed.
A lot of times, it's things that I've thought about.
Over there under his breath the whole time.
Yeah, because all I have to do is turn it off and like, okay, leave. Bye, click.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, you're gonna see what that's like now, pal.
Sure. But
sure.
No, it's normal because there's things that I wanted to say, but it didn't come up organically in the conversation. So I wanted to make sure I got them out there before the end. Well, I shouldn't say mostly. Sometimes, every once in a while, I really want to say something. Every once in a while, I'm just sort of dragging it on to watch you get frustrated.
Because I'm like, I'm gonna have to edit that out. That son of a bitch. That's more work. It's more work on the other side for me. An asshole. I've gotten this down to just pull it up and go. Pull it out and go. That's what she said. Anyway.
Brent's cracking.
Ren, yeah. So that's time. It's time then. All right, Ren. Hour and 42 minutes later. Ren's leaving the show. Ren's going to keep it going, though, guys. Not to worry. The PewterCast is still going to be around. He has promised you the Instant Cast show, whatever he's going to call it, PewterCast Live or whatever, that's going to stick. Everything else is up for grabs. Ren, would you like to introduce your new co-host?
No, I would not.
Because
there may or may not be one, or I may or may not have one.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. Ren actually has no idea what he's doing for the future. I labeled this the future of the PewterCast, which is basically Brent's leaving, and now we don't know what this is.
Yeah, Brent's leaving, and now it's captainless. The wheels spinning. It's in circle. Ursula's coming out of the ocean.
And listen. If the show tanks, we'll sit back and say we know where the real talent was. So.
Yeah, who's we?
I will say this because this probably will not be something that gets said later. And I truly mean this from the bottom of my heart. Ren, thank you for joining me in this for the last 4 years.
Oh, yeah.
And when I say that you've become a friend, I truly mean you have become a friend, and you have brought so much to this show. And ultimately when I made the decision to not just kill the PewterCast and say, go do your own thing, because a piece of me was like, while I've always been the owner of the PewterCast, and it's always been my show as producer, executive producer, all of those things, the show would not have reached what it reached without you. Like it was both of us together, and you were such a huge part of that. And so thank you for joining me in this for the next 5 years, or for the last 5 years. And I can't wait to see what you do with it over the next 5 years, or however long it goes, or whatever you do. It's been a good podcasting partnership. I very much have enjoyed our time together, and Yeah.
There you go. Nice wrap up.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about a little bit earlier, when I was like, I woke up Cheryl. And, when you asked to be the co-host, I was like, I don't even remember what I said, but it took like I couldn't get the words out fast enough. I'm like, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And, and I didn't even know what the hell I was signing up for. Like, no idea. Like I said, I didn't know what a podcast was. Like, you want to do a podcast? Oh yeah. Yeah. What am I doing? What's a podcast? What? Talk Bucks? Oh yeah. Yes, definitely. And, it's been a great distraction for me. It's been, so much fun to be able to sort of like my opinions on the Bucks and how I view the game has changed through this whole thing. And you being, and I've said this before a few times, but not recently, but you taking on the host role and sort of like taking the back seat of the quote unquote analysis role. And sort of let me stretch my legs and that type of thing, and taking all on the technical stuff, always being in the host chair, and realizing from the early, almost from the jump, that because we never talked about it,
right?
We just would sort of talk.
Just developed.
It just developed into it.
The way I've always pictured it, it really turned into that sort of play-by-play versus color commentator type deal.
Yeah.
Just for the podcast.
Yeah. But you didn't fight your role. If I don't know if you wanted to be color or you wanted to be play-by-play, but you never fought your role. And even though, I keep talking about how I'm, trying to learn things about how I interact with people, even 4 years ago, like, I don't think I would have been emotionally mature enough to be in the sort of host chair.
Right.
And just let you like sort of tackle the X's and O's and be the one who talks a little bit more about it and fills in the show while the other drives it. Like, I mean, do I think that I'm a big part of what the PewterCast has become? Well, yeah, of course.
Yeah,
That's absolutely. Right. But there could have been a lot of people who sat in this chair and the PewterCast would be what it is today. But sitting in your chair, there was nobody else. No. Like, you're the one that did it. Did I help? Yeah, I helped. Does my personality helps a little bit? Yeah. But you can get a dick for anywhere. Like, there's a bunch, like, walk outside, dude. Throw a rock, you'll hit some asshole in the head. You want to do a podcast? No, okay, pick the rock up, throw it again.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but yeah, you're the one who did it all and had the vision in the first place and did the commitment. And look, man, we got people in the chat room that, like, we've become a part of these people's lives. Like, not that they depend on us, but they expect it. Monday morning or Sunday night, they're tuning in the PewterCast. Thursday morning, boom. What do? On the way to work, on my morning jog, while I mow the yard, PewterCast. What do I do Saturday? While I'm shopping at the grocery store, I'm listening to Buck on the News.
Right.
And we've become a part of these people's lives, and it's you didn't quite make it to the press box on the side of the stadium, but you made it into the media room.
There you go. Yeah.
And and you
got the credentials badges, and I still have them, by the way. I'm sure you do too. Like, I still every badge you've ever given me, I still have it. So.
Oh yeah, so do I. Yeah, I rub it in people's faces. I wear it to the bar.
There you go.
And I just walk behind the bar and grab a beer. I just show my credentials.
There you go.
That's not true. Anyway, look, we both ended our little stories crappily.
There you go. All right, Ren. Well, listen, why don't we end the show as we always do? Ren,
sure.
If anyone would like to get in touch with you this week and submit an application, why don't you tell them how they can do that?
Don't. How's that? That's the best way. Best place to find me is on Twitter at Rendax, REN_DAXT. I'm always down to talk Buccaneers football. But if you have a take, or honestly, if you want to throw your hat in the ring or have some ideas about where the show should go, or just talk Buccaneers football, slide in my DMs and I'll talk about Buccaneers football with you there as well. So that's why I dropped doing it. I can't get it anymore. I've missed it all. I've missed it. So anyway, yeah. Hi. Twitter at Rendax_DAXT. No other way to really get a hold of me. The end.
And if you guys want to get in touch with me, you'll find me at Brent Allen Live. Please, all of you guys go follow me over there too. Like all you PewterCast people, follow me over there because I've only got about 5 more weeks over here with PewterCast.
5 weeks? I don't get it right away?
No. What?
The PewterCast Twitter handle.
No, it's like the president. Like it's not until the inauguration. As soon as that hand comes off the Bible, then it's like the switch flips, and then it'll be over to you.
When's that?
Whenever, I don't know. Whenever the season, whenever the Bucks are done, and we do the PewterCast Awards.
I gotta wait till the Pewties.
That's the first thing I said. I'm here until the Pewties, and then I'm done.
I'm getting a bum deal.
Right, you're getting a fully loaded podcast ready to go for free
that I created.
If you guys want to get in touch with me, you find me at Brent Allen Live. The show is at the PewterCast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. You can email us to thepewtercast@gmail.com. If you have any thoughts on the show or whatever, as far as what could happen in the future, if you don't want to slide into Ren's DMs, email it to us and Ren will read that eventually when he gets that password. I think you have that password.
I think I do too. I don't know where
pretty sure you do. It's the same one as the YouTube password. And I know you have that one, unless I've changed it. Anyway, all that
he does all the time.
We'll be back on Friday with our Buck in the News show. We'll be talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and then we'll be back on Sunday. It's a Sunday game. Is this the Saturday game?
Is there a Saturday game? I don't know.
The Bucks got moved to Saturday. It's either this week or next week. I think it's the Lions game. The Lions game got moved to Saturday. So this week is Sunday. After the game, 000, we will be live with the PewterCast Live. You guys call in, join the video chat. We'll talk about your reactions to the game because the season's not done yet, neither am I. So until next time, guys, go Bucks.